welcome to the Old Fart Geeks podcast. This week on our 7th episode, that's this many, we discuss a bunch of old retro tech stuff. I'm Jason Oakley, this is my co-host, Will Tompkinson. Hey, Will.
Hey, mate, how you doing?
Not too bad. Skipped last week because I was a bit lazy, so we'll give it another go this time. Hopefully I know how to record something for a change.
Yeah, can we not do the show 3 times this week?
You're just lazy. Oh wait, that was me.
What is it? Talk like a pirate or something?
Arr! Where's your buccaneers on me buckethead?
Actually, speaking of which, did you hear that a guy that's shooting a new Pirates movie up here,
yep.
And a guy dressed as a pirate with an actual parrot on his shoulder tried to get in and claim he was an extra, and when the security guard wouldn't let him in, he pulled a what do they call it? Like
musket?
like a knife, but they got a proper name, like a dagger sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he pulled it on the security guard and he ran away into the bush, and for the last day and a half, the cops have been chasing this pirate with this parrot on his shoulder. They caught him, and the same time they caught him, what's his name? Johnny Depp ended up flying back to LA to go to hospital because he cut his hand.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Because apparently they couldn't put him in a hospital at the Gold Coast because he was actually at the Gold Coast when it happened.
Third world country here.
Oh dear. But anyway,
and Harrison Ford is injuring himself again.
Yeah, it's because he was flying solo. I had to. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
People tell me I got bad jokes.
Hey, you can thank the internet for that one. They replaced his plane with the Millennium Falcon.
I saw that. That was
course,
good.
And they got, he crashed because he was flying solo.
Next time, let the Wookiee do it.
And speaking of old farts, you can't get much older than him. He's getting on there a bit.
I know, right? Last year he broke his leg or something.
He busted his ankle walking his dog.
Yeah.
He didn't do it while he was filming the movie. No, he waited till he got home and then did it. At least the same again this time. He waited till he'd just finished filming, and then he decided to try and write himself off again. What's going on?
Dude.
Leonard Nimoy.
Yep.
See, Canada's going crook at people for writing on their notes.
Drawing Leonard Nimoy on it, yeah, Spock.
Yeah.
Nanu.
No, I think that was a different alien. That was Rob Williams, who also played an alien who is also no longer around. Man, don't ever play an alien.
Yeah, it's dangerous, man.
It's like playing Superman. It's going to end badly. Because look, the only one who's still alive, and he's stuck in the Ripley's museum.
Yep.
He's like a permanent artifact in there now. Anyway, enough of that. What are we doing? Oh, that's right. We're doing a show.
Do some tech news, maybe?
All right, let's try that.
You can start off.
Oh, can I? You wait till I just switch off. Yeah, that'd be right. Alrighty. So this week in history, I believe we're doing from Tom Merritt. You can, everyone knows Tom Merritt. He's the king of this stuff.
If you don't, why not?
So
Go
we just
Google him.
we just flog his stuff and put it on our page. But that's cool because he lets us do that because he told us we could once.
Yeah, he's nice.
I'm sure. Oh, it's that interview we did on Aussie Tech Heads. Yeah, when we did an interview with him a couple of years ago on Aussie Tech Heads. I mean, we had to edit that part out for time.
Yep.
But I distinctly remember him saying that was the case.
Yeah, go steal my stuff. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, if you don't want it stolen, don't put it on the interwebs.
Not like we don't credit him. I just made this up this week.
Exactly. Alrighty, 1837. The US Patent Office approved Thomas Davenport's application for a patent on an improvement in propelling machinery by magnetism and electromagnetism, which I guess you could call an electric motor if you wanted to.
Why didn't we call it the Davenport or something? Don't people name things after the
there
people
probably
who invented
is.
them? I think he's going to Google Davenport electric motor now.
They're probably, I would say that he would be known for something. They usually have... there is a Davenport engine.
There we go.
Davenport motor, yeah.
Told you.
It's a...
you learn something new around me.
It's
whether you want to
one
or
of
not.
these. It looks... I'll have to do a bit of research on it, but it looks like it's... it's an electric... You can see the copper windings. It's a bit hard to see in that picture there, but you can see the copper windings and the stator and the rotor. So yeah, it's very, very basic electric motor. Cool. So there you go. There is a Davenport engine. It's also a town in somewhere that does things, has stuff.
Yeah, and linking back to our earlier story, Jack Davenport was in Pirates Caribbean. Boom.
There you go. See, we meant that.
Did on purpose. And we planned this so well.
I know, right?
What? Okay. 1838, the next year, in the small town of Cherlitz, the Austrian Empire, Ernst Mach was born. His work in aerodynamics and supersonic speeds led to the unit of measurement that bears his name. He would die one day after his birthday in 1916.
Okay, Mark.
Jeez, it must have been a good birthday, right? He got totally plastered.
They don't say his age. They say he died one day after his birthday, and it's like, well, hang on.
Yeah.
You gonna let me work that out? 1637. It's like 80, 84.
I haven't got that many fingers.
Oh dear. Yeah. So Mach obviously is the measurement of speed when you're talking in speed of sound, I believe.
Yeah.
So Mach 1 is speed of sound. That's most jet fighters these days will do that, and there's a couple, I believe, of land vehicles that have beat that record.
Nice. Is it yours?
So, no, it's not. Although
you need to work really fast then, right?
According to Queensland Police, anything over like 3 kilometres an hour is Mach 1. So
yeah. $1,000, ka-ching!
That's it.
I'm going to the policeman's ball this year. It's going to be great. We're going to have champagne out there.
Somebody actually put on my Facebook page, they got busted for having a dent in their number plate. Like just a small little dent in the bottom of the number plate on a 4-wheel drive. And it was $1,100 and 5 points.
Jeez.
So needless to say, they're disputing that one.
No revenue raising there.
1876. It was a hard year to swallow. Alexander Graham Bell.
He comes up a lot.
Who didn't really invent anything but gets a lot of credit for stuff, spoke the immortal words, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want you," over the telephone in his Boston laboratory, summoning his assistant from the next room. It's widely considered to be the first instance, man, I've got your disease, of somebody using technology when they bloody well could have just got up and spoke to someone else in person. It's also widely considered to be the first phone call.
I like that. Tom's got a good sense of humour. You just got an explain. It's like me when I was with friends. We were working in a internet cafe, and we're all sitting like 3, maybe 6 foot from each other, messaging each other via IRC. Do you want to go out and get something to eat? Yeah, okay. Hang on, let me message the other guy on the other side of me.
I know.
What do you want? Let's get some McDonald's. Yeah, all right. Okay, let's go, everyone.
So, and it's actually funny because it wasn't. Once again, it was his assistant who accidentally spilt chemicals on the charcoal that activated the charcoal, which is what made the system work. So,
is that it as good as those activated almonds I've read about?
Okay, you're on your own
there.
there.
About that. You get almonds and you put them in water, you leave it overnight, and it activates them, gives them super magical powers. And it's not real science, people.
It's not made by the almond board by any chance, is it?
Probably.
Advocates of activated almonds claim that raw almonds contain certain big words to prevent your body from receiving the full benefit of nutrients. The activation process requires almonds to be soaked for 12 hours.
There you go.
And over 40 degrees Celsius.
Now they become superfoods, just like what you get when you put it in one of those NutriBullets and turns your normal food into superfood, right?
Almonds provide 28 essential nutrients, including vitamins, minerals, fatty acids, fiber, and protein. Top of the list are natural antioxidants, vitamin E, also good for amounts of fiber and protein, as well as smaller quantities of that. There is almost no research that indicates whether activation works or not.
Yeah.
Thanks. Give me all this information and say, well, it probably actually doesn't work, but you know, give it a go.
Yeah. It can't hurt, right? Have a few boiled almonds for breakfast every day. You'll live to 190, guaranteed.
And if you don't, it's not our fault.
Yeah, I'm not a real doctor.
Oh dear.
Can't go past a week without Alexander Graham Bell or Thomas Edison.
That's
Same year, Alexander Graham Bell received a US patent for improvement in telegraphy, which established the principle of bidirectional signals that made the telephone possible. Goes both ways.
Was that because it was like he discovered it by accident in his first one, so he better update it the second one?
Yeah.
1885, the American Telephone and Telegraph Company was incorporated in New York State as a subsidiary of American Bell Telephone.
Everyone knows how great AT&T is and how many people love it.
You ever heard of AT&T? You can thank American Bell, who's also a big corporation.
Bell.
As opposed to Taco Bell.
Best carrier ever? Or is it Verizon? Or T-Mobile.
What they needed to do was Taco Bell needed to get together with the American Bell telephone. That would have been better. And they could have had a taco that you could talk to.
Awesome. They used to have got hamburger phones back in the 80s, didn't they?
I think I've still got one of those kicking around here somewhere. I found one on eBay for
Dude, it's a retro show and you're not bringing show and tell.
It's not technically retro because it's actually designed to plug into the top of your mobile phone. It's got a 3.5-inch plug on it.
Yeah.
And so it actually turns. I've got a couple. I've got a hamburger one. I've got the old ceramic style one. I've got the old one that used to, like, everyone had as their second phone where it had the plastic base. You pick it up and it had the numbers on the handpiece. Yeah, I got a few of those. They're all designed to work off your normal phone. They just plug into the socket on top of your phone.
Next show is show and tell.
I've got that means I have to clean up and find them.
Speaking of retro stuff, as a sidetrack as we're already on, tonight I went into the Bartronic pub in Melbourne, and they have old coin-op machines. I played 1942. You remember that one?
I love that game.
For 20 cents.
Oh, really?
Back at the old prices and everything.
I was going to say, it's the old price, How much money have they made off that? Seriously.
Yeah. And they got The Simpsons and Galaga, some old Nintendos and Mega Drives or something in there. 1942. The cabinet says 1943, but it's got 1942 going in it.
Probably to stop copyright.
Oh, they did do 1943 was the next game that
was the sequel, yeah.
Yeah.
The Simpsons, so is it the proper four-way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtle pinball game.
The pinball game. I don't even know if I can remember that.
My favourite one is the Addams Family pinball. You ever played that?
Yeah, I used to play that all the time.
I love that because it's like suddenly the magic power takes over and they turn on electromagnets and your ball goes around in circles above the flippers and then goes off in a random direction.
Yep. That was great. I used to love the Terminator. My two favourite ones was actually the
Terminator
Simpsons
2,
pinball.
yeah.
I do remember the Simpsons pinball now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Terminator one and that one were probably my two favourite ones.
We used to go to a pinball arcade place where I was growing up, and they had the Terminator burger, and it was like one of the really big, tall, stacked burgers.
Yeah.
It was like $10 or $11 back then, even, but you had to buy it just to try it out.
When I used to go to Planet Hollywood. Planet Hollywood.
Yep.
When that was in the Crown Casino there in Melbourne before they shut them all down because they weren't making enough millions of dollars. They used to have a drink there called the Terminator.
Oh, okay.
It was massive. It was in a big, like a 1 litre glass. And it was like just everything. It was like they randomly just got everything off the shelf and just tipped into this thing. It definitely had tequila in it because the top was salted around the lip. So yeah, it was insane. I know why it was called the Terminator.
Yeah, because you would be if you had too many.
Oh yeah, well one really.
One's enough.
One was verging on too many of those things. You get one for your meal, then you get one for your entree, then you get one for your mains, then you get one for dessert, then one for the road.
One all over the road.
Well, actually, they in the Powerhouse nightclub that used to be in Lismore, you used to be able to get a fruit tingle, and they literally used to serve it to you in a fishbowl. Like this massive, big, like 5 litre fishbowl, and you used to give you like.
She loved the fruit tingle. She used to always talk about them and how much they had them every time.
They used to give you like 10 straws to go in with it, and you'd be carrying this thing back to the table. And they give you those plastic medicine shot glass things.
Just thanks.
But it was like $5.
Yeah.
It was amazing, so cheap.
I just introduced my daughter to Terminator 1 and 2 movies. She thought they were fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's waiting for the next one to come out.
Later this year or next year. Well, if it's anything like the third and the fourth or whatever they are, then yeah.
It's a reboot of the second one. It's got the Terminator back with the arms that turn into blade knives and stuff. The liquid metal guy.
Actually, that guy who played that Terminator, second one, he's actually in the series I'm watching. He's actually in Scorpion.
Oh, okay.
And the really weird part is once you realise it's him, like by the second or third episode, you realise it's him. You don't sort of notice it straight away. As soon as you realise it's him, the way he stands and the way he runs is exactly the same as it was back then. Nothing's changed. Like, you could throw silver arms on him and dead set, he'd look the same.
He was in something else, wasn't he? Like X-Files or something for a while?
Something like that, yeah. The best thing to come out of X-Files was Evolution, the movie, with Moldy or Sculler or whatever the names were. But he was in
Last Action Hero, Die Hard 2, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
Okay.
From Dusk to Dawn, Sons of Anarchy, Burn Notice, Scorpion.
Yeah, I knew he was in Burn Notice.
He played Johnny Cash father, Ray Cash, in Walk the Line.
Oh. I'll have to go back and look his bio now. I've probably not even realised.
He's in so much stuff that I didn't know.
Well, you often wonder what happens to these actors. Well, there you go. Apparently they're in movies you watch all the time and you've never even noticed.
Die Hard 2, then Terminator 2, then Wayne's World as the same Terminator. Last Action Hero.
Yeah. That was the best part about that.
The Faculty, Dusk to Dawn 2.
That was a freaky movie. That was a... Have you seen that?
No. Faculty?
That was a really, really well planned out movie. It was like it was relatively low budget, relatively unknown actors for the most part, but yeah, it was a really well done. It was not over the top, but it was still fulfilling. It was obviously a thriller / horror, and it was definitely that without really trying to be too. Didn't have to try to do it.
Oh, okay, so it's worth watching.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth watching if you've got a spare couple of hours that you probably want to do it not at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No?
No,
is that
not
through
really.
Personal experience?
Well, let's just say. And it was the second time I watched it. And I'm like, oh, stuff it. I'll just throw it on. And yeah.
It's not on Netflix. Dope. Oh, well. Where are we up to? We got a bit sidetracked. 1891, that's your one.
That's it. 1891. No. Okay, whatever. David Sarnoff was born near Minsk. He would go on to befriend Marconi and rise to the presidency of RCA and be integral in founding NBC. So this guy loved his acronyms, apparently.
Yeah, TLAs, right?
That's it. Gotta hate TLAs. So RCA is the composite input, no?
Yeah.
So he was a data cable for a while.
Yeah.
And then he founded a TV station. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Isn't that the Peacock station?
NBC, yeah, with the plumage NBC.
1893, wow. Germany's Imperial Patent Office granted Rudolph Diesel patent number 67207 for a new efficient thermo engine. We just call it the diesel engine.
Yeah, I was going to say...
See, I told you about naming things after yourself.
I thought you were going to say Germany's Imperial Patent Office turned to metric.
I can't wait until I invent something and name it after my last name. What could I invent that would have a name Oakley? I don't know.
I don't know. I reckon that'd have to be like something you wore on your feet.
Yeah, because I stink. Good one. I walked right into that one, didn't I?
They're not getting any better. In 1980, no, where are we? In 1896, hoping to test the sun's ability to create X-rays. Okay. Henri Becquerel placed a
Henri Becquerel.
Bacharach Bocconcini. I don't know, one of those. Placed a wrapped photographic plate in a closed desk drawer with You did this on purpose. With phosphorescent uranium rocks laid on top. He left it in the drawer for several days until the sun came out and it was cloudy.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
Not the sun was cloudy. I got that when I was reading it as well. The sun came out and it was cloudy. Wait, no. The phosphorescent stuff was clear.
So it had nothing to do... Huh? I'm confused. So testing the sun's ability to create X-rays, so he put something in a photographic plate, closed it in a desk drawer, with
uranium rocks on top of the drawer, and then the sun hit the uranium rocks and heated them up, and your X-ray went through into the.
But he died 3 years later of cancer. I'm sure it doesn't really matter at that point.
Isn't that the
I
next
have no,
one?
that story. Well done, Tom. I'd normally give you raps, but dude, you dropped the ball on that one. But it's okay because apparently he survived.
Yeah, and then he discovered the uranium rocks had appeared on a photographic plate without exposure to the sun. He discovered natural radiation. Let's just go from the next one. We'll forget we even mentioned any of that.
1908, Dr. Lee DeForest.
I can't brain today.
Oh, no, right? Oh, man, I don't... You should... What, that one? See? I'm ready for it. Okay, so... Where are we? Yeah. In 1908, Dr. Lee DeForest received a patent for space telegraphy. That doesn't sound right when you say it like that. Which described a 3-element vacuum tube later called a triode, which could amplify feeble electric currents and proved especially useful for radio reception.
Yeah.
And we still use those things today. They haven't really changed. They're basically exactly the same as they were back then.
Yep. Transistors do a similar thing too.
Yeah. We've got a little bit more... Well, transistors are a slightly more advanced version of those, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's like the rectifier circuits and stuff like that that are just basically copper wrap wires. They were discovered very early on in electronics, and they're still used hugely today.
Yep. Till we get another alien space crash at Roswell, and we can find some new technology.
That's it.
That's why it's been stagnating for a while.
We're overdue.
Yeah, more weather balloons, thanks.
That's it.
1926, the first successful transatlantic telephone call was placed between New York City and London. Transatlantic service began the following year at $75 a minute.
And every hotel in the world followed with the same rates.
And still are. Isn't that the rate for your Wi-Fi at a hotel now?
Oh, I'll tell you what, some of them. A toroidal coil is what I was thinking of, by the way. And no, I didn't Google it. It just came to me.
Yep.
Well, $75 a minute. When was that? 1926. That was like half a year's allowance for some people.
Yeah, you just...
See, the thing is, if you put that into comparison, like, that's probably still the same cable that they're using now that they were using back then.
Yeah.
And they're trying to push...
That's why we don't need any of that optical fibre in our country, thank you.
Yeah,
copper is doing quite fine, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. 1927, US President Calvin Klein... Okay, fine. Calvin Coolidge. Calvin Klein be better. Signed Public Law number 632, establishing the Federal Radio Commission, which was later replaced by the Federal Communications Commission, which somehow, despite being an American company, rules everything we do here.
Yep.
Why? Who gave them permission?
Yep.
So, anyway.
Have you seen that Family Guy tribute to the FCC?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Beep,
there's another one for
beep,
YouTube.
Beep, beep. Also, 1927, German physicist Werner Heisenberg wrote a letter to Wolfgang Pauli describing the uncertainty principle for the first time. He submitted a paper on the principle for publication the following March.
But he wasn't certain what he wrote was correct.
No.
I know nothing about that, so I've never even heard of the uncertainty principle.
You haven't?
Probably didn't take on.
That's where you're measuring something, you can know where it was, but not how fast it was going, or if you're measuring how fast it's going, you can't tell where it was or know where it is anymore.
Yep, okay. I just never recall, I didn't recall the name.
Heisenberg was a theoretical physicist and came up with the uncertainty principle, which essentially states that you cannot simultaneously know both the position and momentum of a particle. Hence the joke, Heisenberg and Schrödinger got pulled over for speeding. The cop asks Heisenberg, "Do you know how fast you were going?" Heisenberg replies, "No, but I know exactly where we are." The officer looks at him confused and says, "You're going 108 miles per hour." Heisenberg throws up his arm and cries, "Great, now we're lost." The officer looks over the car and asks Schrödinger if the two men have anything in the trunk. "A cat," Schrödinger replies. The cop opens the trunk and yells, "Hey, the cat is dead." Schrödinger angrily replies, "Well, he is now."
Schrodinger's, what is it? If you observe something, it changes its state.
Yep.
That was his rule, wasn't it? Yeah. So
So you put the cat in a box with a vial of cyanide, and you don't know if the cat's alive or dead because you don't know if the cyanide's killed him or not, so there's no way. So simultaneously, the cat is both alive and dead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because I remember, I think actually they may have done a very similar joke to that on Big Bang.
Yeah. And
they did something very similar to that.
One of the guys says to Penny, have you heard about Schrodinger's cat? She's like, I've heard so much and too much about Schrodinger's cat today, thank you.
That's right.
1930.
A US patent. Man, the US love their patents.
Yep.
Given that most of the...
Can't sue the rest of the world every single day for billions of dollars if you don't have all your patents.
Well, it's funny, like, only
something like
15% of the world's actual inventions and creations come from the States, but they hold something like 70% of the patents. For photographing apparatus was issued to George Lewis McCarthy, who called it a Checkograph. It was the first bank check photographing device.
I like that kind of thing they have in the US. If somebody writes you a check, what's that you say? A check? What is that? Who uses checks these days? Their banks have an application where you can take a photo of the check and it sends it to the bank through the internet and it gets deposited into your account. You don't have to go into the bank because you got proof that you had it there. It's got numbers on it to prove that it was a real check and everything. They just process it.
Yeah, well, that's they're actually doing. I'm with ING, and they're about to start something similar. They're just waiting for approval to go through, but they're going to do the same sort of thing. Because with ING, you have to actually go to a post office to deposit checks and money, so they're trying to make it easier to do that. I mean, we use checks. I don't know why. In business, people love their checks. We get thousands of dollars worth of checks. It's so annoying.
People will still write checks to our company, and most of the brands, we don't take them anymore. It's like, yes, thank you for that useless piece of paper. Now can you please BPay or do a direct deposit? Thank you.
We only do it from our regular customers.
We shredded it for you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what the fascination with checks are. It's so annoying.
Get with it, people. Just because you were doing it 50 years ago doesn't mean you should still be doing it now. The world has moved on.
It's like handing you a bond and going, here you go, this is good.
Bond. James Bond.
Here's a bond for some land over in Russia somewhere. It's fine, honestly.
Oh dear. 1932, English physicist James Chadwick published a letter on the existence of the neutron. Some say giving birth to modern nuclear physics and the neutron dance. I'm just burning, doing the neutron dance.
I reckon he came up with the cartoon Jimmy Neutron. I reckon that was his idea.
That was also in my head. I went with the song.
1935, Scottish. So we've gone from England to Scotland. Next we'll do Wales. Scottish physicist.
You cannot speak whale, Dory.
Oh. Oh, great, that's going to be in my head now. Scottish physicist Robert Watson Watt.
What?
Demonstrated? Or he also demonstrated radio detection. That's something different, I think. And ranging to Air Ministry officials at Daventry, England. This radar, which is short for radio detection and ranging, proved quite helpful a few years later when the war broke out, which is good because only the English had it, and I think the Americans had it, and the Germans are like, why do they keep shooting at us? We don't know what they're doing.
And the English people put out all these leaflets saying, we fed them lots and lots of carrots and it improved their eyesight. And people ever since have been, kids, you got to eat your carrots or you won't be able to see in the dark. And kids are like, I don't care to see in the dark because it's dark and it's at night. And if I want to see, I'll turn the light on. Thank you. But it doesn't do anything for your eyesight. It was just crap that they made up so the Germans wouldn't know they had radar. Hello.
Well, it was, the Germans and the Japanese, I guess. Yep. If you haven't read Cryptonomicon, there's actually the first 8 chapters available for free at the moment on his download page
just buy it. Come on, cheap.
Because his new book that's come out, so he's giving you some of the previous chapters of our book. But
buy a $7 grande latte, you can get a ebook.
Well, I got the audio book because I can't be bothered reading, but it's great. It talks about all this stuff, and that's the thing with him. Like 90% of his books are fact. There's like 10% in there he makes up, but you don't necessarily know what that 10% is.
And he doesn't need to for most of it because their technologies are so amazing. Even talking about the really old stuff they did, encrypting, like when that guy's in jail and they're just using playing cards.
Playing cards.
Yeah.
For a 52 cipher.
Yeah, I'm really good at 52 pickup. It's my favourite card game.
Yeah,
especially when I had too many scotches.
Is it 52? 20? Yeah, 26. Yeah, 52 key cipher. But yeah, I mean, I knew about ciphers and I knew about cryptology in the fact of what it is, but after having listened to this, and I've got to watch that movie too. It's taken it to a whole new level. Like I'm assuming some of the stuff he goes through is dumbed right down.
Yeah.
And it's still incredibly complex.
Terribly interesting too.
Oh, amazingly interesting. That's why his books I can just listen to over and over and over again. For that reason, like every time you listen to it, you get something else that you didn't get.
Yeah.
Like the names is a good one. There's 3 different generations in the book, and they have
the simultaneous stories.
Yeah, but the names don't necessarily like GEB. And you don't get it the first time, and it's not until you watch it the second time you go, oh, that's where GEB come from. And it's the names of 40 years earlier of something that happened.
Yeah.
So he needs to be giving us money for this, damn it.
Promoting you, man.
You owe me.
Sponsor the show. 1937, Valentina Tereshkova was born in the Yaroslavl, glad I didn't get you to do this one, region of Russia. She would grow up to become the first woman in space and the only woman ever to fly solo in space. I'm a rocket girl, rocket girl.
I thought that was that American one.
Russians did it first and America caught up
later.
They
did it first,
further down.
But it says she would grow up to become the first woman in space and the only woman ever to... Oh, solo. Okay, yeah, don't mind me. I'll read it properly one day.
Listen up, Sonny!
Also 1937. Do you even hear, bro? Waldo Watermelon flew the first... Wait, what? Oh, it's close.
Stock Aitken and Waterman.
Waldo
Never
Waterman.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Just rickrolled everybody for the podcast.
So did he invent Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
Or Waldo Waterman flew the first test flight of the Arrowbile.
That's a great name.
That sounds appetizing. Don't mind me, I was going to take my Arrowbile for a test.
That's what came up after he finished flying and got caught in a spiral.
That's it. And just in case you think we're making that up, there it is. There's Waterman Arrowbile right there. It's kind of like a really, really small insect with a motor on the back. I'd fly that. I found the aircraft easy to fly and virtually spin and stall proof. I'm glad they added that. It's considered the first successful flying car to actually fly. Is that a car? Oh, yeah, it's 3 wheels. So I guess that does kind of make it a car, doesn't it? 1934, the Bureau of Air Commerce recognized the Waterman aeroplane as one of the 2 award-winning designs for its fiver, i.e. light, easy to fly, and affordable. The aircraft competition, Waldo Waterman's improved aero fulfilled the dream of designing a tailless rotable aeroplane. There was this isn't any easier. The Arrowbile was a 2-place high-wing cabin monoplane with transmission drive system that operated the propeller in the air and the rear wheels on the ground. The one-piece wing was removed by moving a lever and pins, painted in Buick blue. It had many standard Studebaker, Ford, Austin and Willys automotive parts to keep the price down and maintain the look. It received an FAA certification for experimental category in 1957, but no market materialised.
So we already had flying cars, and here we are waiting for Back to the Future and our flying cars. They already happened. Dude, you blinked.
Yeah, I know, right? What was weird though, in 34 he designed it.
I just have to say, it looks like behind you there's this skeleton hand coming out and reaching for you.
Nope.
Nope.
It's only paper.
It's just the streaks from that look like 2 arm bones and then a hand.
There's a nose up here. Which is a print.
I've seen those spooky movies when someone's face comes through the wall and their hands pushing up against it.
Oh, dear.
1947, the first closed-circuit broadcast of a surgical operation showed procedures to observers in classrooms at Johns Hopkins University.
Wow. Would have been like really crappy black and white though. 47, yeah, would have still been black and white, wouldn't it? How do you get man? I couldn't even imagine trying to get the right contrast doing an operation between the blood and the organs and the cavity. Like it would just nah.
Bright light.
Also in 47, Edward H. Land demonstrated his one-step instant camera and film at a meeting of the Optical Society of America. The first Polaroid camera was on sale within 2 years.
And now they're dead.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically the Polaroid brand still exists, but it's owned by some Chinese company or something and makes printers now.
Polaroid printer. In 1954, the Westinghouse H840CK15 went on sale in New York area. It's generally agreed to be the first production television receiver using NTSC color offered to the public. Only 30 sets were sold at $1,295 a pop. In today's money, that's a quadrillion, billion, zillion.
Yeah, not far off it. It was a 15-inch. It was a 15-inch color set. That's the advertisement for it. There you can see it comes with people dancing.
That's nice. Is that a decal they stick on the front of your TV?
Well, I don't know. It must be because it's on all of them. Admittedly a luxury, the immediate availability of Westinghouse colour television receivers opens a whole new world of thrilling entertainment. Enjoy now! Okay. The magic of colour telecasting, glowing natural tones. Westinghouse Colour TV is simple to operate, easy to get faithful colour reproduction from its tints to deepest tones.
So
with stable colours.
4K or 1080p? No.
240 by
The answer is no. QCIF.
180 by 360, something like that. With stable colours and superior definition, that's how you start a sentence. Receives programs in black and white with fine picture quality, which you'd have to because nothing would have been shot in colour at that point. Westinghouse Colour TV comes with a full door console with hand-rubbed mahogany veneer set off by a satin finished brass in a clean, crisp treatment. No wonder it was $1,300.
Yep,
including exercise tax. Yeah, that's the tax they charge you to exercise to walk up and down the front stairs.
Yep.
And installation to an existing antenna.
What if you didn't have an antenna yet because it's your first TV?
I'll tell you what, it's yeah. I mean, well, that's a lot of money back then. Wow. No wonder they took a while to come of age, as it were.
Yep. 1955.
1955. Sorry, I was in the middle of looking up NTSC resolutions. A boy was born to University of Wisconsin graduate students, again worded badly, Joanne Simpson and Abdul Fattah Jandali, of course. He was given up for adoption, taken by a machinist and his wife from Mountain View, California. They named him Steve Jobs.
Instead of
Abdul I'm going to get all sorts of bad emails about mispronouncing the name. I don't care. It wasn't Steve Jobs. I didn't mess it up. I got Steve Jobs' names right, and that's the important part of that story.
Yeah. 1961, Sputnik 9 successfully launched, carrying a human dummy and the dog Chernushka. It was completed one orbit and was successfully recovered upon return.
Chernushka, wasn't that a dance?
Bush song. Chanushka, 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 yay, yay.
Or is it those dolls that stack inside one of the other ones? There you go. NTSC's 525 vertical lines, PAL's 576.
There you go.
Yeah. And again, if you watch Cryptonomicron, you'd know how it works and why it's called scanning lines and all that sort of stuff, because it's really interesting.
And what the V
and how they do refresh rates.
V blank.
Yeah. Okay, 1965, the Ranger 8 probe launched on its mission to photograph the Sea of Tranquility on the Moon. You know, it's not actually water, right, guys? The photos paved the way to select the area as
20% water.
The first man looning. Also, moon landing.
You're the loony man around here.
Oh, today I think I might be.
Can't brain. 1975, the Home Computer Club held its first meeting in the garage of Gordon French in Menlo Park, California. 32 people showed up for the first meeting. John Draper, Steve Wozniak, and Steve Jobs were some of the more famous members of the club.
Yes, there's a little bit of... even back then, there was a little bit of rivalry going on. People would copy other people's discs and sell them cheaper, and...
That's what pissed off Bill Gates. He went to a computer club meeting and everyone was handing around copies of Windows 3 or something. He's like, "You pirates, I hate you all.
That's it.
I'll rue the day that you did that." And then everybody still kept doing it, still does it these days.
Yeah, well, you know, not a lot's changed. But there's actually still got a very active amateur computer users group. You can go to Digibarn and check out. It's still got all the original newsletters, like that they started putting up the first lot of newsletters and things like that.
Nice.
There you go. What's this one? Newsletter issue number 1, March 15th, 1975. Are you building your own computer, terminal, TV, typewriter, I/O device, or some other digital black magic box?
They called it the Apple One.
We got in a short dispute over hex or octal until someone mentioned that if you're getting... Would you like to buy an Altair A80 kit?
I only work with binary. I'm hipster.
Mitz is expected to send out about 1,500 Altairs have been shipped out so far. It's so there you go. So if you want to read
Gates learned to program on was the Altair.
Yeah. So if you want to read some old-fashioned, old school technology, I guess. Go to their website and you can check out all sorts of. So there you go. TV graphics, XY plotting, making music, small robots and turtles, and other educational uses.
Piezo speakers out the wazoo.
Oh, the good old piezo speakers. They were great. 1976, the first Freon-cooled Cray 1 supercomputer was shipped to LA, Los Alamos Laboratories, as opposed to the other LA, in New Mexico at a cost of $19 million.
19 million.
Pretty much. It's that's a reasonable amount. I mean, that
Same
thing was...
price as the first colour TV from Westinghouse.
Yeah, well, there's that. But I mean, it was a pretty intense bit of kit, especially for back then. Like, it was...
How many teraflops?
Most successful computer was... architect was Seymour Cray, chief engineer of Cray Research.
He named it after him.
Yeah, of course. It was known as the... Wow, they've got a lot of background, vector machines, Cray's approach, description. I'm just trying to find specs on it. Here we go. The Cray one, only 4 IC types. ECL dual 5-4 NOR gates. 1 5 input and 1 4 input, each with differential outputs. Another slower MSCL 510K NOR gate, used for addressing for fanouts. A 16 by 4-bit high-speed 6 nanosecond RAM, SR RAM, used for registers, and 1024 by 1-bit 50 nanosecond SRAMs used for the main memory. So in terms of RAM, it had 1024 bits plus 64 high-speed bits.
And now there's more processing power in your Pebble Watch.
Oh, there's more processing power in a Pebble, I think. It had large 5-layer printed circuit boards, up to 144 circuits per board, all containing each code. Where's the actual? It was built as a 64-bit system.
That's pretty high tech back then.
Yeah. It was addressed with 1 megaword of main memory, apparently. Which is 1024 bits, I think, if I remember correctly. I'm just trying to see if it's got any specs on the actual power consumption or anything like that. 160. There we go. 2 by 80 megahertz clocks. There's 160 megahertz.
Nice.
There's 1 word per 100 nanoseconds, or 5,000 words per second, is what it could process. So it consumed 115 watts of power. Really?
Yep.
My this computer here consumes more than that. This thing here supplies, like, just the CPU, I think, is 180 watts.
Yep. That's why you have to buy these 1,000-watt power supplies.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
It's all your graphics cards.
Well, I was going to say, I've got 4 graphics. Well, this is how things have changed. Like, back then, this thing was, absolutely ridiculous and was $20 million. And it had 1024K, so it had 1 meg of RAM, basically.
That meg of RAM probably took up most of the lounge room.
Yeah. My computer's got 64 gigs, no, 32 gigs of RAM, which is 320 times that? No, 320, 3,200 times that. Something, I don't know, a lot. 4 video cards, 8-core processor running at 4 odd gigahertz. And it's drawing close on 1,000 watts.
Yep.
Running all that, not including the 4 monitors I've got spread out in front of me.
How's your power bill this year?
Surprising. Actually, it's really bizarre. We can leave the computer on, or we can turn it off. From, like, when we go away, we went away for like 3 weeks and turned it off, and there was no noticeable difference that month in the power bill compared to when it was left on.
So they're scamming you, is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
One of those estimated bills.
I have to admit, though, that the new computers in no way look anywhere near as impressive as the old computers. There's the Cray there.
Nice.
You could literally, like, work in the Cray.
It's like Pac-Man. There's a bit missing out of one side.
So you could get in.
If you had one more in there, it'd be like the new Mac Pros, right? They're a cylindrical thing. Pretty
much. And you can actually see all the mechanical switching inside that. It was all done with NOR gates, which are and OR gates, or latches. They're an actual mechanical switch that toggles the 1 or the 0. So, yeah,
you've heard a relay switch once in a while, right? This would be going all the time.
That's it. So you're literally taking a mechanical analog switch and turning it into a digital signal. It's pretty intense. It really was.
1981, the ZX81 was launched by Sinclair Research in Britain for £69.95 and would go on to sell over 1.5 million units around the world. It was much more successful than its predecessor, the ZX80.
Probably because it was cheaper and newer.
Better keyboard, probably.
I wonder if it was called the ZX81 because it was released in 1981. Now there's something. Also a really good year, I have to admit. 1981, fantastic year.
Don't know what happened then.
In 1982, 4 days after...
Oh, it was 10. Yeah, that was great.
The second of 2 Soviet probes to Venus, the Venera 14, landed on the planet. Venera 13 and 14 would continue to send data until 1983.
Is that where the venereal name came from?
From Venus. Lucky it wasn't called Uranus, I suppose.
1983.
I'm trying to land on Uranus. I'm sorry, but
1983, CBS Records launched the first major compact disc music marketing campaign, launching 16 titles. Remember CDs? Kids wouldn't know what CDs are. CDs had gone on sale to public the previous October in Japan.
The only thing I really ever use CDs for is
coasters.
No, you hang them on a bit of string and you put them outside and it keeps the birds away.
Oh yeah, makes pretty rainbows and stuff too, especially if you put it in the microwave.
And you can use them as taco holders, because what you actually do is you get a heat gun and you melt the middle of them and you bow them in half, and then you get another one and you put it up the other way, so then you got 2 halves. So you got a flat foot and then you got the top bit where you can stick your taco inside.
Nice.
And they're shiny. Which is really all that matters. I remember back in the day when we used to do the computer markets. What is this anyway that I'm waving around here? Anything important?
I think it's a CD.
Drop it? No, it's okay. It's only for my printer. Back in the day when we used to go to the
now you get
markets.
Printer drivers in the box and you get home, throw them away and download it.
Yeah, I know. And yet the annoying part is I can't find the motherboard driver for my computer that I'm installing Windows on to install the network card to install everything else. But yeah, when we used to battle for space at the computer markets back in Melbourne, every Sunday you'd go to computer markets and you're trying to get people's attention. I actually used to make windmills out of these.
Yeah.
I'd actually take the out of the CD-ROMs in the early days of CD-ROMs, they had similar later on, but they got a bit cheaper and nastier. But the spindle, the motor itself with the platform and the magnetic top that used to lock it in place, I figured out a way you could actually take all those out and assemble them and put them together, and you'd hot glue the CD in there so it'd stay there, and you'd cut 4 slits in the CD and you'd heat them up and twist them so it looked like a windmill, and you'd actually just hook that up to a little D-cell battery and it'd spin nice and slow.
Yeah.
And it looked like these windmills going around and around. So I used to have them on the front of the cases and stuff to get people's attention.
Nice.
I actually started selling them. Like, originally they were just there for marketing, but we ended up putting them on, we'd get stubby coolers made up for our company with our company name and stuff like that, and we'd put those on top of it and sit them on there and put stuff in it and make it like an actual, put the battery and stuff in the bottom, and people had started buying these things from the computer market.
Dude,
so it was never our
Etsy
intention
shop?
to sell them.
You need an Etsy shop.
Yeah, I know. It was never our intention to sell them, but man, I should start doing that again. Now that, hey, no, if I see any of those on eBay in the next 6 months. Oh dear. 1986, a Soviet proton launcher. That's a car, isn't it? Yeah. Proton. Boosted the base block of the Mir space station into orbit.
Cool.
And was that like ever used again, or?
That's like one of those air blocks that you get in Minecraft. You start building from there outwards.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. Okay.
Have you ever heard of Minecraft? Not if you're from Turkey or something. I think they're banning it.
Yeah.
It's illegal.
Not that you'd know, because you can't hear anything out of our show that we recorded the other night. But anyway, there's enough of that.
Oopsie. 1992, the first media-hyped computer virus reached fever pitch as the Michelangelo boot sector virus began to affect computers. Worldwide catastrophe did not follow.
I actually had that. I had the Michelangelo virus.
That's why you need to practice safe facts.
Actually, more specifically, our school had it. Wow. CDNet go a little bit overboard. On March 6, 1992, many quite sober experts in the computer industry were overcome by an apocalyptic hyperventilation, all because of a few hundred lines of code. It was. It only affected. Well, I say only. It only affected 20,000 systems, which at the time there were 5 million computers that could have potentially been brought down with it. But it pretty much just pulled the boot sector out from underneath you, I believe. The weird part is it's still around.
Format C:/SYS.
Yeah. So Michelangelo virus, which is still triggered when a computer's clock registers the date March 6th, coincides with the famed Michelangelo's birthday. Any PC that had the virus would blank the disk drive if it was powered up on March 6th. It was great in theory, but it's surprisingly still around, which is weird. About 1,000 or so PCs, I reckon, cop it every year.
Yeah.
But given that it actually wipes itself out every year because it formats the drive that it's on, I'm surprised, honestly, that it's still around.
I cannot self-destruct. You will have to lower me into the molten metal.
Yeah.
Hasta la vista.
So I also had, not to be confused with Michelangelo, which was a really neat imaging program at the time.
Talk about retro.
It was up there with JView and X-Ray Gold and all those other ones. And Michelangelo is still around. Wow, really? Huh.
Gem is probably still around.
Yeah, probably. Sorry. I was taking a nostalgia trip.
It's the first time for the show.
1995, a little over a year after starting the website in 1994. Okay. Jerry Yang and David Philo incorporated Yahoo!
Exclamation mark.
Well, see, is it Yahoo or Yahoo?
Yahoo!
Yeah, but nobody could. I mean, could you imagine having to say that every time?
Yeah.
It's like when they did the AOL thing, and every time you check your mail, you go, "You've got veal."
Yeah.
Like, oh, what?
Nobody ever Yahoo'd a term on the internet, did they? Nobody Alta Vista'd something.
Yeah, I used to use Alta Vista.
Yes, but you never said.
Oh, you never
I
said
Alta
it.
Vista'd it yesterday.
Git search, but even
it was that
or...
really difficult thing, I really wanted to know what it was, so I hotbotted it. And
you would say,
hotbotted it really fast.
You would say ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
Go ask Jeeves. So that one actually worked.
Yeah.
You could go fetch, which was Dogpile. But yeah, there was Web Wombat. There was nobody really. I guess it was just a generic. I'm just going to search for that.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
There was none of this. I'm going to Google. I mean, Google is the generic. I'm going to do an internet search for that.
And how often have you Wikipedia'd something?
Well, you wiki something.
They should have come up with a better name for that.
Yeah. It was like the Wayback Machine.
Yeah,
I think that's what
that's
kind
great.
of. Yeah. Well, it's now the Internet Archive, but I think that was the idea behind the Wikipedia.
I was using the Wayback Machine the other day because I found out that a guy that I'm working with now, I used to work with at the same company 20 years ago. He took over when me and the other guy quit because we weren't getting paid by the manager. They're like, okay, we need someone else, and it was him. And it was just the other day, I was like, so how'd you learn about Linux anyway? Oh, I worked at this ISP back in the day. Oh, yeah, which one was it? Blah, blah, you probably never heard of it. Dude, I started that. Me and a friend started that ISP for another guy. He funded it, and we did the sysadmin website support and everything for it and created the whole thing. No way. Small world.
Amazing how that happens sometimes, isn't it?
Yep. 1996 World Chess Champion Garry Kasparov defeated Deep Blue in Game 6, winning the match 4-2.
In case people don't know, Deep Blue is it's a colour. It's a really nice colour, and apparently it's a very smart colour. It's
that colour looks really smart on you.
What's the a hula vu? That's what it is. Yeah, it's a hula vu. It's a very intelligent shade of blue. Oh man, okay. Why can I remember hula vu, but I can't remember like a normal word?
That's what my mum always said when I was young. If this higher school certificate was solely based on Monty Python, you would have blitzed it and got distinctions in everything. How can you remember a whole CD of Monty Python scripts, but you don't remember your science homework?
Because Monty Python's far more useful.
Interesting and funny.
Yeah, and I'll have much more use for it later in life.
Yes.
When was the last time you needed science or maths?
Yeah, what's science ever done for us?
Yeah, exactly.
What have those Romans ever done for us? Well, the aqueducts, health, education, the roads. Besides all of that, what have the Romans done for us?
Was that Red Dwarf did something like that too, didn't they?
Don't know that one. That was Monty Python.
That was Monty Python, but there was a Red Dwarf, something very similar to that too.
What have you done for me lately? Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, yeah. 2000.
It was. The Sony PlayStation 2 went on sale in Japan.
That's all I got about that.
Apparently it only went on sale in Japan, and they were the only place to ever have it. Nobody else ever anywhere
never
has
heard
the
of it.
PlayStation 2.
No, never heard of it.
Although it's weird, like I've still got a PS2. Well, actually, I've got the PlayStation 2. It's not the PS2.
Yep.
And I hardly ever play it, but I was looking at getting the PlayStation 3, and then I heard the PlayStation 4 was going to come out, and overnight the prices at like cash converters from the PlayStation 3 dropped down to like $50 for a whole PlayStation 3 and 10 games.
Yeah.
And now PlayStation 4 with like a bundle of like 5 games is like $100.
Yeah.
So talk about
why not?
Really. Well, that's it. Yeah, the PlayStation. See, and this is the thing that bugs me too, because people call a PlayStation 2 a PS2, and they're technically different because the PS2 is a different variant. It's the same as what they call the PlayStation 1. For some reason, there was the mini one that everybody calls the PSX, which wasn't the PSX. The PSX was an entirely different machine, not even related to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And in case you're interested, the PlayStation 2 came out when it was first released. Was $426, which is 40,000 yen when it first came out, and by the end of that year, it had dropped down to half of that, $200.
How much of your weekly pay was all of that?
In 2000?
Yeah, in Japan.
Oh, in Japan, yeah, I don't know. I was going to say, for me, ironically, was like I was earning more money than I'd ever earned, and still do, actually. Like 99 and 2000, working in the computer industry with this whole hype over the Y2K bug.
Yep.
You could name your price to go in and do nothing to fix their systems. It was fantastic. We were doing massive corporations and businesses and all sorts of stuff, and just like we were so flat out with work. We were just ridiculously shit. Oh, 10 grand. Yep, no worries. Come do it. When can you do it? Next month. Yep, no worries. We'll book you in. Oh, we need advance payment to book it. Yep, not a problem. Here, have 10 grand. We'll see you next month.
Yay.
Okay. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was just, oh, man, we need a Y2016 bug.
Yeah.
Because that needs
I
to
remember
happen
going
again.
around to lots of companies and running applications to check your BIOS and update it for 4 digits and things like that. We got a lot of work out of that.
There was not one system ever anywhere that failed the Y2K test.
No.
Oh, there potentially was an old XT in someone's kitchen, but I don't think they did. Because no, my XT didn't. My XT was fine.
Yeah.
It passed all the tests. I don't like. Where did they
Probably
get this
nothing.
from? Seriously.
Yeah. 2004 review site Engadget launched with a post about T-Flash, a new memory card format by founder Peter Rojas.
T-Flash.
I once got a email from Jason Calacanis at Engadget because I used to view their page and then find interesting articles and cut and paste the whole thing into my blog, which also cut and paste instant links to the images and stuff. And then they'll check their referrer links and see my blog coming up all the time. He sent me an email and said, hey, stop stealing our content. It's like, I'm not trying to make money off it. I just found some cool stuff that you posted I thought people would be interested in, so I put it on my blog. It's all gone now, sir.
Now,
no idea who he was back then, but...
Neither did he. Transflash, so that was basically SD. No, that was micro SD before it was micro SD, wasn't it?
Really tiny ones.
Yeah, it came in 11 mil by 15 mil, so yeah, it's micro SD. It's half the size of a SIM card, and it comes in 32 meg, 64 meg, and 128 meg variants. Motorola's the first cell phone manufacturer to get behind the T-Flash.
Yep,
and the
I
cards
had that in
will work.
my Motorola A1000.
Yep.
A1000, is it?
And this confirms what I was saying. It will work in a standard SD slot adapter. So, but so did most of them. Like even the CF Flash will, the Sony Duo, they'll all work. They're all SD format. They're just different. Man, one of those Duos, the biggest ripoff.
All the Sony try and propriety everything. So you have to buy our ones. You can't buy generic RAMs for our
when the
stuff.
PSP come out, they came with like a 16 meg card or something, and you could buy like a 64 meg card. It was like $300 or something for the card.
Yeah.
And the equivalent like SD card was like $20.
Yeah.
So you'd buy the $20 card and you'd buy a $3 adapter.
Plug it in.
And you were set. Because I've actually still got some compact flash cards kicking around here because I've got a Sony Alpha which still uses the compact flash cards.
Still, I have one of those great big square ones like that.
Yeah, the CFs.
I had that in a camera years ago.
Yeah, it's up. Actually, I could go and grab it.
It's just got 8 meg somewhere.
I think I've actually got, I think the smallest one I've got's a 64 meg. It's actually the ones they use in Poké machines that holds the programming for the Poké machines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I think mine was 128 meg.
Yeah. I think the smallest one, well, my smallest SD I was actually playing with it before. I think it's this one. No, that's the 16 gig one. I've got a 64 meg SD card kicking around here somewhere. That might even be it there, but there's one that's sitting here somewhere, and I've got a 32 meg USB thumb drive.
Ah, cool. 32 gig you were saying, right?
No. Meg. 32 meg.
Meg.
And it was $500 and some odd when I got it.
Whoa.
It was marketing. Oh, well, I didn't pay for it, but that was from our reps. But that's what they were promoting it, so they gave us one to try. It still works. Like this had to be like 2000 or somewhere around there.
Yep.
And it still works. And I mean, you can't hold anything on it. Obviously, a few Word documents and it's full, but the fact
One
that
Word document with all the markups and macros and stuff.
That's it. But the fact that it's been around since like 2000 and you can still, it's probably the most reliable one I own.
Netscape fit on a floppy disk.
It did. And you could run it from a floppy disk too.
Yep.
Didn't just fit on a floppy. Have you noticed they've come full circle? Now they've now got the what they call the portable stuff
like
now.
7-zip portable.
Well, yeah, and like Firefox has got a portable version, and there's a lot of apps now coming out that have their portable versions. You can throw them on a thumb drive and
it doesn't put files all over your System 32 and stuff.
Yeah. So once again, doing it full circle.
Yeah. Nice one for you.
2009, relatively recent as far as technology goes. NASA launched the Kepler Space Observatory with a mission to discover Earth-like planets orbiting the stars.
Isn't that like a 3D game with some little alien guys?
Kepler, I thought it was that thing that grew under the ground, under the ocean.
This is Kepler. Kepler space program.
Man, Kerbal.
Kerbal space program.
Kerbal.
Yeah, based on this idea.
Yeah, but it's a rocket basically. Delta II carrying anything interesting here? 2009, 1029, 3.5 year mission to seek science on Earth-like planets. It will watch a patch of space for indications of Earth-sized planets.
Thanks for asking.
The area, okay. Even the NASA website got bored with that story. They got like halfway through it, and the story just goes, and so they're just gonna continue
doing stuff.
It's like, yeah, well done, guys. You're really enthusiastic about that.
Speaking of having enough and ending it, thanks for listening and watching another episode of the Old Fart Geeks podcast. Make sure you subscribe in iTunes or your other favourite podcast application. You can also watch our show at YouTube at youtube.com/oldfartgeeks. Don't forget to subscribe so you keep up to date with our shows. And you could be watching it in YouTube right now. So hit that like button.
In YouTube? Is
that
the video version of iTunes?
Yes.
Yeah, don't forget, guys. Leave us a like. Leave us a comment if you want. Leave us a like or a dislike.
Tell us what you really think about Will.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, even if you leave a dislike, it doesn't matter. It all helps with our search engine optimization. And it also lets us know who's watching and what they're enjoying and not liking. And should we do a 8th show? Yeah, basically, should we continue to do what we're doing and putting in time and effort in for it? Or as like the same 3 people watching it every week and, can take it or leave it. You can follow us on the Twitters. Our accounts are at Warlock, WAULOK, which isn't me, and Mr. Tomkinson, MRTOMKINSON, which is me. And our show's account is at Old Fart Geeks, which is kind of both of us sometimes. Music for the show is provided by the Free Music Archive. Thanks for listening and see you next time.
Bye.